A Christmas party in a Los Angeles skyscraper. One New York cop barefoot and underdressed. 12-ish German terrorists with more exotic hardware than most 80s action shows could afford in a whole season. Today, we're climbing into the air ducts of Nakatomi Plaza to look at the real-world guns of Die Hard. The pistols, submachine guns, rifles, and belt-fed monsters that turned an office Christmas party into a ballistic holiday classic. Let's start at the quieter end of the arsenal. First up is a little pistol with a big attitude problem, the Walther PPK, the Ellis's Koch confidence gun. The PPK is a compact, steel-framed double-action pistol usually chambered in .380 ACP or 7.65mm Browning. It has a short barrel, a slim single-stack magazine, and that classic spy movie profile everyone associates with James Bond. In Die Hard, the PPK shows up when Ellis tries to negotiate with Hans Gruber, believing that a little charm, some cocaine, and a small handgun make him bulletproof. Spoiler, they do not. Hans has zero respect for either his negotiation skills or his caliber choice. A modern PPK or PPKS generally runs in the $700 to $1,000 range, more if you go for special finishes or limited editions. So yes, Ellis was basically waving around a very expensive paperweight while trying to talk down a man with a German accent and an HK obsession. Next up, a more serious piece of German engineering, the Walther P5. The P5 is a compact alloy-framed 9x19mm pistol designed for police work, using a locked breech system derived from earlier Walther designs. It's lighter than a PPK, holds more modern 9mm ammo, and has that unmistakable Eurocop styling you see in late 70s and early 80s thrillers. In Die Hard, the P5 is seen in the hands of law enforcement rather than the terrorists, a nice touch given it was a popular West German police pistol at the time. It quietly reminds you that not everyone outside the building is incompetent, even if the LAPD brass kind of are. Today, P5s are discontinued and fairly collectible. Prices often land around $1,000 to $1,500 depending on condition and accessories. Not bad for a piece of Cold War cop history. Moving on, we get a nod to old-school American sidearms, the Smith & Wesson Model 15. The Model 15 is a classic K-frame .38 special revolver with a carbon steel frame, adjustable sights, and a 6-shot cylinder. For decades, it was a standard police sidearm, the kind of gun that spent more time in a leather holster than in a gunfight. In Die Hard, LAPD officers outside Nakatomi are seen with revolvers like the Model 15 on their belts, a visual reminder that McClane's Beretta is a new wave wonder compared to traditional wheel guns. While the terrorists are running around with exotic HKs and Steyrs, the local cops are still rocking 6 shots and hope. On today's used market, a good Model 15 usually sits around $500 to $800 depending on age and wear. Solid, simple, and reliable, just not exactly ideal against guys with full auto imports. Now we go upstairs, literally, to the rooftop where we find the Steyr SSG 69 sniper rifle. The SSG 69 is a bolt-action precision rifle chambered in 7.62 by 51mm NATO, built with a synthetic stock and a cold hammer forged barrel. It's light for a sniper rifle, accurate, and was the Austrian Army's standard sniper platform for years. In Die Hard, an SSG 69 appears in the hands of a rooftop marksman, giving the bad guys reach and precision if they need to take shots at cops, helicopters, or an unintelligibly resourceful New York detective. It doesn't get a dramatic slow-motion hero moment, but its presence adds to the sense that these villains aren't playing around. Depending on variant and condition, real SSG 69s often run between $1,500 and $2,500, more if you bundle in quality glass on top. Next is a gun that's technically not a gun, the MGC M16 Model Gun Corp Replica. These are non-firing model rifles built to mimic the look of the M16, used frequently in films when blank-firing weapons aren't needed. They're made from metal and plastic, and they replicate the dimensions and externals of the real rifle closely enough to pass on camera. In Die Hard, the SWAT team storming Nakatomi carries these MGC M16s, which look like real M16s but are in many cases glorified props. It's a nice reminder that not every gun you see on film is capable of sending bullets anywhere but the prop master's budget. On today's collector market, original MGC M16 model guns can still fetch serious money, often upwards of $500 or more depending on condition and completeness, which is wild for something that never actually fires. Now we get to one of the most unmistakable rifles in the movie, the Steyr AUG. The AUG is a 5.56 by 45mm bullpup rifle from Austria, with the action and magazine behind the trigger. It has a futuristic polymer body, an integrated optics housing on many models, and a very 80s sci-fi silhouette that screams bad guy gun to American audiences. Carl, Hans Gruber's right-hand psychopath, carries the AUG as his primary weapon, using it to chase McClane through the building and in the infamous final jump scare when he pops out of a body bag for one last attempt at murder. It's the perfect choice for a character who looks like he should be on a metal album cover, not a corporate security badge. Modern Steyr AUG rifles typically sit somewhere around $1,800 to $2,500 or more depending on configuration and country. So yes, you too can own Carl's space rifle, just maybe skip the elevator shaft revenge arc.
Time for a villain sidearm with serious style, the Heckler & Koch P7M13. The P7M13 is a compact 9x19mm pistol with a gas-delayed blowback system and a distinctive squeeze-cocker front strap. The M13 version uses a double-stack 13-round magazine, giving more capacity than the original single-stack P7. Hard-chromed examples, like Hans's, look as fancy as they are mechanically clever. Hans Gruber uses this pistol to threaten Joseph Takagi in the boardroom, to casually execute Ellis mid-coke pitch, and to hold Holly at gunpoint during the finale. It fits him perfectly, refined, expensive, a little exotic, and extremely dangerous when pointed at you during a monologue. Because they're discontinued and beloved by collectors, P7M13 pistols often fetch $3,000 to $4,500 or more on the used market. That makes Hans's handgun more expensive in real life than most of the bonds he's trying to steal per shot fired. Now to the workhorse of the heist, the HK 94 carbines, chopped and converted to look like MP5A3 submachine guns. The real HK MP5 is a 9x19mm roller-delayed blowback SMG with a steel receiver and polymer furniture, famous for its controllability and accuracy. In Die Hard, armorers used semi-auto HK-94 carbines with shortened barrels and conversion work to stand in as fully automatic MP5A3s. These MP5s are everywhere in the film. Hans's men clear hallways with them. McClane takes one off the first terrorist he kills, and the most iconic moment might be the elevator corpse with the sweatshirt that reads, "Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho." Original converted HK-94 MP5 configurations can cost around $3,000 to $4,500, or far more for transferable full-auto guns, depending on U.S. legal status and rarity. They are the Rolls-Royces of 80s action movie subguns, and Die Hard did a lot to cement that reputation. Stepping into heavier territory, we have the M60 general-purpose machine gun. The M60 is a 7.62 by 51mm NATO belt-fed machine gun with a long, quick-change barrel and a gas-operated action, often seen with a bipod or mounted on vehicles. It uses disintegrating link belts and is built largely from steel with polymer or metal furniture depending on variant. In Die Hard universe, the M60 appears alongside its lighter sibling to represent the terrorist's ability to punch way above pistol caliber firepower. Even when it's not the star of a scene, seeing that belt and barrel on screen tells you the police are outgunned in a big way. Transferable M60s in civilian hands can command prices in the $8,000 to $12,000 range or more, turning each burst into the financial equivalent of setting a used car on fire. Closely related, but with its own starring moment, is the M60E3. The M60E3 is a lighter, more compact evolution of the original M60, still firing 7.62 by 51mm from disintegrating belts, but with reduced weight, a shorter barrel, and updated furniture. It's meant to be more portable for infantry, and in Die Hard, that translates directly to portable car shredder. Alexander uses the M60E3 to absolutely destroy Sergeant Al Powell's police car after McClane sends a dead terrorist crashing onto the hood. He also uses it to take out spotlights during the SWAT assault on Nakatomi, proving that when negotiations fail, belt-fed diplomacy begins. Because of its rarity and machine gun legal restrictions, an M60E3 can easily be a $10,000 to $15,000 item plus today, not counting spare barrels, links, and whatever therapy Powell needed afterward. And finally, at the top of the Nakatomi food chain sits one pistol, John McClane's Beretta 92F. The Beretta 92F is a full-size 9x19mm pistol with an aluminum alloy frame, an open-top steel slide, a 15-round double-stack magazine, and a DA/SA trigger. It balances well, runs smoothly, and became the action movie sidearm of choice in the late 80s and early 90s, Die Hard and Lethal Weapon being two of its biggest calling cards. In Die Hard, this is McClane's constant companion. He has it on the plane, on his ankle, in the bathroom while pulling glass out of his feet, and, most memorably, taped to his back with Christmas wrapping tape for the final showdown with Hans Gruber. The whole fake surrender, laugh, draw, and double-tap Hans and Eddie scene hinges entirely on that Beretta and a very strong belief in office supply adhesives. Hans even gets his hands on the 92F at one point when he pretends to be a terrified hostage, and Carl briefly uses it near the end. But no matter who is holding it, you know it belongs to McClane. Off-screen, one of the screen-used Beretta 92s from the movie sold at auction as a hero prop, complete with extended controls installed specifically for Bruce Willis. Modern Beretta 92 FS pistols, the updated version of the 92F, typically sit around $700 to $900 new and roughly $400 to $650 used, depending on condition and variant. The actual screen-used Die Hard guns, of course, are worth far more as collectible movie history. You're paying for the carbon scoring from Nakatomi, not just the alloy frame. Of all the weapons in the movie, the 92F is the one that feels like a character. It survives with McClane, bleeds with him, and helps turn a barefoot cop into the ultimate Christmas movie action hero. So, that's the firepower of Die Hard. German pistols, Austrian rifles, American belt feds, and one Italian handgun that steals the entire show. Which weapon from Nakatomi Plaza would you want in your collection? Hans's fancy P7, Carl's Steyr AUG, or McClane's battered Beretta 92F? And which price tag hurt the most to hear? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe to Movies, Guns, TV shows, and ring the bell. There are more videos coming on the guns of The Matrix, John Wick, the MCU, and way more movie arsenals.